For the record, concerning METALITE's Expedition 1 in its current evolution, and perhaps some of you already know where I'm going with this, if you in fact took the journey with me mutually, perhaps, through first consultations of the trio of tracks released thus far, I have found this album to have quite effective setup, with a killer fanfare that certainly raises my expectations on what I'm sure will be a never resonant and dominant METALITE release. That's been the story for the past 3 albums and anything that's come alongside. But going into certain pieces, I mean, it helps you had this announcement a couple days ago that this was coming, because my expectations are, again, quite high. But I think this one's going to be, I just get a sense of it that we're going to have an even much better time. Again, not to overshadow his previous works, because I have found, let me go through the tracks again of what's released in order, Hurricane, Take My Hand, and Disciples of the Stars to be all competent works. Again, to be expected of METALITE. But Blazing Skies, I mean, you've already charmed me with, in fact, my favorite single art thus far. I mean, the orange and the blue is quite a lurid color mix, as anybody knows. Visually, it just strikes. But we have another METALITE visualizer, and as I said in the beginning, right, some of you might remember with our origin, we took that experience together for a first consultation with METALITE, just experiencing their works perhaps for the first time in company. This is the story of many European rock and metal talents, and many of you know already for how much I emphasize it. I prize this space individually with European metal music, because it is just so striking and advantageous of witness, and the versatility and the effectiveness of artists abroad in that landscape. Just wonderful. It's a beautiful experience, and METALITE, no exception. Ever since I took my first journey with them, or really since I got my first taste with them, right? Remember in the beginning, just as stated in simplicity, the connective tissue, which is typical for maybe a number of artists I've consulted on this channel from the European vein. Collaborations, that's how I was introduced. Mortemia, another favorite artist of mine. Lost Horizon, and if you've not heard that track before, I highly recommend it. That's where Erica Olsen graced my ears for the first time, and her vocal talents, enough of a bridge, right? A must-hear listen, from, in my opinion, with Lost Horizon, that compels later venturing of METALITE. And as I've said it previously, I don't typically do this, but I just had a sense with this group that I would like them, and in fact, at the time, I bought all their albums outright, just on first presumption, even before I entertained them with you. But in early January, I took the METALITE journey, and I've not regretted it at all since. And perhaps some of you are sitting with where I sat at that time, right? First initiates. I know a number of you probably are not, and that you've humored this group before. Maybe you've taken the journey with me in company, and we've enjoyed these artists mutually, so you go in with some familiarity, but maybe some of you don't. Maybe you've heard the name METALITE, but you haven't dug further. To set a good baseline of ease for you in expectation of what you're about to witness. Swedish, I love that space independently as well. There's so many good artists out there. Melodic power metal for real electronic and synth dominance. Brings on, again, this, like a couple other European groups as well, especially in the Swedish vein, brings this nostalgic flair to like classic rock in mood. I love METALITE. I've enjoyed the journey, and I'm loving taking it with you for what we have available currently with Blazing Skies. But as I said in the beginning with my origin, typically, the way I go about determining a selection of tracks to recognize, just to be fair and inclusive to the number of artists I wish to consult on this channel, I would normally run by the tracks that get visualizers to give a good count. I try to go robust about it, but I do try and at least set some limits. Maybe on a case-by-case basis, I make exceptions. And with METALITE, that's what I did in the beginning. And so far, with exception to Take My Hand, we've not had many visualizers released. METALITE music, in my opinion, is even better when you have the music video accompaniment. That's what I found. And their music is great on its own, but there's just some of the visualizers that makes it an even more connective piece and a fun experience. Just it explodes for me in favorability. We have that. So again, the setup to Blazing Sky, I'm really looking forward to this piece. And this is very much a fresh take. I've not taken a deep dive yet. Even the lyrics, I've mildly perused them. But the song, we're about to enjoy it in company together for the first time. And I welcome you, whatever standpoint you happen to come from. Familiarized METALITE listener that I'm sure for many of you predate my arrival, and for those of you who are initiates, right, and you've not yet humored METALITE, I can't wait for you to have the opportunity to be introduced. I love that with music. I love being able to share in company with you in terms of first witnesses, and we're about to do that with Blazing Skies, our 4th track in arrival thus far with Expedition 1, which is definitely has that fun mainstream METALITE vibe that's not been escaped at all, with some adventurism for sure, even on the concept. I have to say as well, in reference to the past song we got, Disciples of the Stars, I had no clue how extensively this concept was going. I mean, I knew about like the space theming, but I didn't know about that trailer that came out. I should have watched that in preparation. This is going pretty deep. I'm loving the setup, though. Again, another fun killer METALITE release, and if you've not yet been exposed to them, I am so excited for you to have a formal introduction, maybe your first step footing into the European metal territory as well. As I've said many times, once you step in, you will not want to leave. It is a pleasant addiction, and I cannot get enough of so many talents out there, including METALITE. They're wonderful to feature. I feel quite honored to be recognizing again any artist I spotlight here, but METALITE especially. There's not been one artist or song that I've not loved, and METALITE, very true. I've just admired the journey for what I've taken thus far, and I cannot wait for the potential to perhaps pave a route for you to explore them. We're about to do that mutually together, enjoying a fresh witness to blazing skies. I'm looking forward to it. And the METALITE visualizer component alone, I'm ready. Mainstream flair already. Oh, the fire's a nice touch. Have I done that before? I don't think so. There's always an intensity, but again, you just sense that passion. It resonates. And the key choices, I've heard this before, but it works for them. And again, just the delivery is exceptional. Erica is such a special talent. Again, I just love her voice. Every time we get to witness it together. I'm loving the vocal transitions in the path here. This is good. To be expected. That was beautiful. Definite cohesion so far among the works we've had of Expedition 1. Consistent thread even beyond just again the concept playing out. Beautiful pacing on that line specifically. Great fret again to transition the verses from one another.
There's nothing to fear in the vast atmosphere. We're taking you apart. How far across the sky?
Oh man. That just a resonance, I love it. Even if it's quick, I just love again those higher inflection points. Oh man. One of my favorite talents right here on the vocal side. If you've not yet been introduced, I'm so happy for you right now. Great echo choices too, I love that. I mean, it'd be fine too if there was just an instrumental break and that's, mostly relied on instrumental scoring, but I love that there's that intrusion. Beautifully constructed work here. I'm loving it. Oh man, it's Synth Invasion. Love it. to reiterate, I just love the opportunity we have of music to enjoy it in company, right? There's just something to be appreciated here among with music. It's different from the other artistic languages in that they don't necessarily have this collaborative nature to them that amplifies just how easily a piece will resonate with you. Just exploring good art I love doing, but to enjoy good music in company, especially for those of you, or to allow opportunities for fresh introductions. In a way, to inspire paths, right, among our listeners of where I've been for a number of years. And I know that in consultation of METALITE, right, among my personal circles, there isn't much cohesion. I know of a number of you there is, and that's why I've greatly favored covering music, that just to have that connectivity and that fellowship in life, even if maybe, again, it's from an intangible medium. There's just something about music and how it unites people together on similar tastes that I've greatly loved, just in the journey I've taken with so many artists at this point, but with METALITE. Every time I witness their works, it's fun, right? And again, my expectations are set pretty well. I know what I'm getting. There's a consistency on delivery that 14 entries in of what I've consulted here with you, I've come to expect greatly. Blazing Skies does not disappoint at all. Very mainstream METALITE quality sound and choices. Again, the synth invasions, the vocal delivery, and the prowess on Erica. My gosh, she is fantastic. And the last key change, very significant. That's actually, I think, happened for every piece thus far on Expedition 1. Disciples of the Stars, did that happen? I think it did. Yes. So even among this album, there's general cohesion among the works that have been released. I don't remember from any of the METALITE visualizers if we've played around with the concept in the music video before. Now again, that's been introduced as an added layer to this album, but I don't know if that's come up previously. Maybe in like the lyrical videos that plays in effect, but not in the ones with just the band doing a general performance from what I've witnessed. So that's new. I mean, it was a bit mild in terms of delivery, and this very much was, again, mainstream METALITE delivery. You're just watching a rock performance with incredibly talented artists. To be perhaps the doorway for you, to have a first engagement with, again, a high-caliber Swedish metal talent. I'm so happy you've been introduced to METALITE. I experienced a kind of a review, and just every time I consider them in Showcase, I have that rewind effect to where I was back in early January. 13 entries later, I'm having a wonderful time, but enjoying them with you in company. To a brilliantly delivered piece. Again, highly effective. I love, by the way, the individual choice with the vocals. On the instrumental, the bridge section, they could have abstained. This might be typical in expectation to a number of bridge sections in reference to many different groups, but they could have isolated it as just specific scoring and not had any vocal presence at all, but to have that linger in the background. Great transitional element. Again, good feed to their pieces. Consistent navigation in all of their works. It feels very even. Nothing feels disruptive at all. I just love that even pacing. With, again, that faster approach. Dominant METALITE, just fun technique with pyrotechnics now. We've not had that before, at least to my knowledge. But maybe on their shows. But it's been great. Oh, man. Another entry into Expedition 1. Having a great time. And in reference to the entire album's track listing, it's a body of 16 pieces. So the journey will be taken in METALITE, or with METALITE in 2024, when this album comes out, I think, in early January. It's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to humor more, of course. I think there's, at least I've seen from some of their socials, that there might be some more visualizers incoming. That would be great. But so far, what we've experienced has been absolutely wonderful. And of course, for future opportunities, I'm open, cannot wait to return to Expedition 1 again, or just METALITE, period. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on this piece, and from whatever angle you come from, if you happen to be a familiarized listener to them, or you maybe are one of the first initiates. What was your experience like? And does Blazing Skies compel you to dig deeper? I would recommend it. I'd love to hear about it down below if you do in fact wish to disclose your feedback. I think it's another great METALITE piece. Very mainstream feel with Expedition 1's evolution thus far. The tracks do feel generally united even beyond just the concept. The nature and the structuring of the pieces are clearly in line with one another. But the expectations, again, it might be mainstream in structure. I don't say that in any way to be condemning at all. I say it at the standpoint that it fulfills expectation. And with METALITE, they always deliver. I love the electronic emphasis, which is a mainstay in Sweden. Coincidentally, it's weird how many groups sort of err in that territory, but METALITE's a real treat for me. On everything, the instrumental side and the vocals, of course. They're perfect here. As Erica always is. I just love hearing her sing. One of my favorite female vocalists in the European metal landscape today. For sure. And there's many to credit, but Erica Olsen's one of the ones I keep returning to because I just love hearing her sing. Deeply impassioned performance. And if I was a first witness for you, I am so happy that you're now perhaps starting your METALITE journey. And we'll be taking more, as I said, in the future. So you'll have plenty of opportunities with me, as you've had so far, but I'm happy for you to be introduced to METALITE. Or just experience again and never return to a great group if you happen to be a familiarized listener. They always deliver. Blazing Skies is no exception. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.